Hello everyone, it's Mary with Stampin' in the Sand, and welcome to my Live at 5 card class. I air on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today we're going to be creating this beautiful Petal Palette thank you card. It features the Petal Palette stamp set and the new Stampin' blends by Stampin' Up. If you're not familiar with the Petal Palette stamp set, you will be able to find that in Stampin' Up's new Occasions catalog. And that is our spring catalog. And you will find it, I should have marked the page before I shut the catalog to show you the cover. You will find it on pages 22 and 23 of the catalog. So it's available as the stamp set only in wood mount or clear mount, and it's also available in a bundle with the coordinating dies. During Celebration, which is our spring promotion, for every $50 you spend during Celebration in my online store, when you check out, you'll be prompted to select a free gift. So these are all marked in our Celebration catalog or online with the free with 50 bullseye. And if your order reaches $100 or more, there's also some free product that you can select that has a $100 bullseye. And those are bonus stamp sets with additional images. They're larger stamp sets than our $50 level free stamp sets. And there's also some dies. And we have some new items coming out on the 16th, so be sure to stay tuned. So if you're interested at the end of this class in ordering the Petal Palette stamp set or bundle, the stamp set in clear mount is $35, so that gets you very close to the $50 level. And the wood stamp set is $47, which gets you close to the $50 level. And if you order the coordinating dies, the clear mount bundle, so it would be the clear mount stamp set with the dies, is $62, which means you've met the $50 limit for the $50 free product. And the wood mount is $72.75, which gets you very close to the $100 level. So just a couple of things to keep in mind while we're doing our class. So the card that we're going to make today is this one right here again. And I've posted this one earlier on my blog and here on my Facebook page. It has the addition of a ribbon here, but that was unintentional. It's actually covering an oops. So today we're going to be making this card right here. Now before we get started, I have a hostess code for this class. And if you enter this hostess code at checkout, then you'll be eligible for a bonus gift from me in the mail. And I send that out when the class code has closed, and this code expires on Monday, February 19th, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right before we launch into Tuesday, which starts a new week of Live at 5. So we'll remove this for now. You can grab a screenshot. I'll give you a second. Grab a screenshot of that hostess code, and we'll get started on our class. And I'm just going to take a moment here and make sure that I am coming up and I am straight and not sideways. If you're new to my program, you will know that on my second Live at 5, we were sideways. I don't know what happened, but it was really embarrassing. And it looks like I am good to go. So let's begin our class. So again, this is the card that we're going to be making, and I'm going to bring in our supplies. I have a thick Whisper White card base. It's a piece of cardstock that's cut 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4 in the middle. So that's our card base. I also have a Whisper White panel that's 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. And that's just plain Whisper White. And then I have a piece of cherry cobbler to coordinate with my color for my roses, which is the cherry cobbler blends. And that's cut 2 3/4 by 4 3/4. And yes, these are exactly the same size. I did not make a mistake. You did not imagine it, because what we're going to do is we are going to come in with the largest stitched shape framelit, the largest square, and we are going to cut a stitched rectangle. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that here. Oh, thank you, Tammy. I thought they were kind of pretty myself, if I may say so. And congratulations, Tammy, on 2 million. I'm so honored to be one of your downline. I'm so proud of you. So here we go. So we're going to take our stitched square and we're going to create a stitched rectangle. And when we do that, it's going to take the size of this piece of Whisper White down 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so that will then give us the border that we need for the front of the card. So I'm going to move this aside. That's all the supplies we're going to need for today's class. I'm going to pull that out. I am going to try to bring in my Big Shot without whacking something and get it in the frame. So we're going to put that down here. And then I'm going to bring in my magnetic platform and my trusty my base plate, which is my trusty Mr. Cracks. He got broken in half and I had to tape him back together. But he still works and I love him, so I'm not throwing him away. I refuse. He's still got a lot of life left in him. So I'm going to bring in my square. I mean, my square die and my rectangular piece of cardstock. And which way do I want to go? I want to go this way. I'm going to lay it down on the magnetic platform. Then I'm going to bring in my top plate and I'm going to tuck it in the back. And I'm going to put it just up to the edge, the inside edge of that stitched square die. And I'm going to crank it through the Big Shot. And I am going to hope that I don't knock this whole entire thing off my table, because that would just be my luck. Okay, so now I can push this back out to me. And then when I peel this back, see, we have our little flap here. Then I'm going to line this up, and this is the trickiest part for me because for some reason they never want to cooperate when I'm live. But I need to line up my square so that I can feel the stitches pop into place and meet up with the rest of them. Okay, so I felt that, and now I need to lay this down and I want it to stay there. And it looks like I'm off one little bit, so I may have to trim my piece of red cardstock, but I've got it perfect now, so I'm not going to mess with it. We're just going to go with it. And now I'm going to bring my plate in again, and again I'm going just to this inside edge because I don't want to cut a square. I want to cut a rectangle. And of course I'm slipping and sliding, so bear with me here. And we're going to crank this through. And every single time I do this live, I hope and pray that I have done it right. But if not, I have another piece all ready to go. Okay, so that worked. Hallelujah. So now I have my rectangle. And I need to pull this whole contraption out without hitting anybody. And I can see I'm going to need to trim my red cardstock because I didn't exactly get this to the edge I wanted. So I'm going to get my trimmer. So bear with me because I don't have that here. Look at these beautiful cards while I go across the room. Okay, that was quick. Okay, so now I have to bring in my red cardstock here and I'll just lay it over the top. And I really don't have to cut off that much, but I'm going to cut off about 1/16 of an inch because if you know me at all, you know that I am extremely anal, and that'll drive me nuts if it's not perfectly centered and squared. So I think that's good enough. I'm gonna leave well enough alone. Whatever I have there is good enough. So we're gonna put that aside. Then on this piece that I've just die cut, I've got my roses image from my stamp set, and I'm going to use the Memento black ink. So you want to use the Memento black ink when you use your Stampin' blends. Okay, so we have the Memento ink, and we're going to come in and ink this up. And I probably should have inked I should have probably added some extra ink to this. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp it in the upper left-hand corner and hope that I get that where I want it. I could have used a Stamp-A-Majig, but I'm feeling brave. And look at that. I did a pretty good job with it, feeling brave, didn't I? All right, so we're gonna put that aside to dry for a little bit. And I'm going to now grab my card base. And this time I'm going to use the Archival Black. And I'm using the Archival Black because truthfully, I think it gives me a richer black than the Memento. And I'm sorry, something here is creaking. And I'm not sure what it is. Something on my table is creaking every time I use my ink. And I'm gonna come in and I'm just going to randomly stamp this card front with the black roses. And you don't have to worry so much about the center because that's going to be covered. But I am rotating the stamp as I stamp it because I don't want them all going in the exact same direction. I do want it to look like a random pattern. Okay, so that's not too bad. And I'm gonna put this ink aside because I will get my fingers in it. You can be guaranteed. All right, and then just for good measure, I'm going to bring this back in and lay it over the front and make sure I'm happy with it. And I am. I think that looks pretty good. And you'll notice that I do have some kind of rough edge here, and that just happened because I was nervously trying to get that done because, you know, we're live. Things happen when you're live. So, because I'm particular and I'm anal, I'm just gonna come in with my scissors and I'm just gonna snip some of that off. Now this is a card that if it drives me too crazy later with that rough edge where it wasn't perfectly lined up, it's gonna get a bow because it'll drive me nuts and I'll have to cover it up. So now is when we're gonna do the coloring. So I'm going to come and I'm gonna use just the dark Cherry Cobbler blend, and I'm going to use the light and the dark of the Old Olive. I'm not going to attempt on a live video to do fabulous shading on my roses because it'll be a disaster. I can guarantee it. It's bad enough that I can't see what I'm doing because my new Transitions glasses, they messed up with the distance part and I couldn't wear them. So much for my first pair of Transitions. So I'm gonna try to do this without getting my hair underneath the camera because nobody wants to see that today. So I'm just going to come and lightly color with my dark blend my roses. And while I'm coloring, I'm going to tell you that at the end of this video broadcast, I am going to attempt to do, and I'm saying attempt to do, my very first live drawing. So if you leave a comment on this video or on this live broadcast, you will automatically be entered to win my live drawing. And hopefully I've got the program all set up next to me here on my computer that you can't see to randomly select a winner based on your comments. So leave a comment, even if it's just to say hi, give me some opinions about today's project, tell me about the weather, anything, doesn't matter, any comment, and you will be entered to win. Also, at the end of today's class, I'm going to show you some projects that I whipped up this afternoon using this same stamp set and coloring the roses some different colors with my blends. I also played a little bit with the watercolor pencils. So I had some fun this afternoon while I was waiting for 5 o'clock. So now I have my light blend, and I did not go to Copic school, so to speak. I know there's a Copic school for Copic's alcohol markers, and I am not an artist. So those of you that have and are, please don't groan too much by my coloring, because truthfully, I am just learning how to use these markers, and you're learning with me. Okay, so now I have my dark, and look, I wrote on myself. I have my dark, and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to scribble on some shading where I think the leaves would be darker. And again, I have not been to coloring school. I color with my grandkids, and I love it. I love coloring with the grandkids. And now I'm going to come in with my light, and I'm just going to blend some of those rough edges that I might have gotten with my dark marker, and just try to soften that up a bit. And I'm also a very anal colorer. My grandkids laugh at me when I'm coloring because I'm so picky. So learning how to use these alcohol markers is not easy for someone who's really particular. But I'm having fun. It's a challenge. I like challenges. And hey, as long as I'm happy with the results, that's all that matters, right? Oh, Amy, you love the markers? Have you played with them a lot? I must admit, I was a little intimidated by these. When we first came out with the blends, or the blendabilities, what, a couple of years ago? I followed tutorials and online classes, and these don't really work the same as they did, so this is another new learning curve. All right, so I don't think that looks too bad. What do you think? Oh, Nancy, thank you. Thank you. I tried very hard. Okay, so now that that is not a complete disaster, we're going to stamp our thank you. And that is from the stamp set as well. So if you create this card at home, you have the Petal palette stamp set. The other thing I love about it is that there's so many greetings that you have to put on your cards. And of course, for me, it was all about the chickadee. The minute I saw that chickadee, I absolutely had to buy this stamp set because the chickadee has been my favorite bird since I was teeny tiny, sitting on my father's lap at the window at the bird feeder watching the birds. And I love my chickadees. And here in South Carolina, we have the Carolina chickadee, who looks different than the chickadees I was used to in the Northeast. But it's a chickadee, so I'm going to take it. Okay, so now I have my thank you. And I'm going to pray I get this sucker on straight. But actually, if I can find it, in my mess, which I can't. I had a template. Oh, I do have a template. You know what? So never mind. You're not going to watch me sweat. Hold on a second. I changed my mind. We're going to Stamp-A-Majig it. Because after all that coloring, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to come and re-ink him so it has more ink on it. And I've made a permanent template. Whenever there's a lot of greetings in a stamp set, I get it in wood and I make myself a permanent template so that I don't have to keep making, stamping on the template that comes with the Stamp-A-Majig and washing it off every single time. So there we go. So there's our roses. And now we can put our card together. It's not a complete disaster. I'm so excited. So I've got my fast fuse, and I don't know if you participated, but we recently had the fast fuse buy one runner, get 2 refills free. And it sold out like automatically, and I didn't get any. And I'm so sad because I love fast fuse. It's my favorite. And then they announced that fast fuse is most likely, it looks like, going to retire at the end of our annual catalog, and that made me even sadder. So it's time for me to stock up. So now I've just added some Stampin' Dimensionals to the back. And the most tedious part of using these Stampin' Dimensionals is getting this paper off the back, especially when you don't have fingernails and you are live. Okay, so I picked those off. And now I've got my image panel here, and I'm going to just mount it on the front of the card. And I want that centered, and that's not really centered. It's hard to do when it's not right in front of my face, because I had to take my glasses off to read comments. So I can't see, and that's really crooked. Help me out here, ladies. Okay, so there is the front of the card. And before I forget, I always finish off the inside of my card. And this time I'm just doing the simple rose image in the black and white. So I've got my stamp, and I've got my archival ink, and I'm just going to stamp that on the inside so that I know it's done, because there's nothing worse than going to mail a card and all you've done is decorate the card front, and now you have to pull everything out so that you can stamp the inside. So there's that, and there we go. So that's our card. I think it came out pretty cute. Or pretty. I think it came out pretty. What do you think? So I love it. And then I promised you some more roses. So what did I do this afternoon when I was playing? And what other colors can you do with your roses? So this afternoon, these are some other samples that I have to show you. I made this card here. And on this card, I'm taking my glasses off, hanging them in my mouth. I shouldn't tell you that, right? So I made this card, and this uses the designer series paper that's in this collection. It's right here. It's the Petal Passion designer series paper down here at the bottom. It's absolutely gorgeous black and white prints. And I'm going to buy so many packs of that before that catalog retires to have on hand. So this is just a simple little card. And I used the background stamp that comes with the set. Let me just reach and get it, which is this spots right here. And I just stamped that randomly on this rectangle. And this is a stitch square rectangle. So I used just the next size down on the stitch squares. So I made a smaller rectangle. And then this card was created using, what was this one? I have my other samples over here. Is this one the ones for the watercolor pencils? This is the one where I used watercolor pencils. So first I colored the roses in yellow, and then I did some trim work with the pumpkin pie, and then I watercolored. And then on this one, I used the old olive and did the watercolor pencils. And then I don't know if you can see it, and I hate when I watch videos and they say, I don't know if you can see it, and I can't see it. I did Wink of Stella on just the roses, and then I used my fine tip glue and I put down some little dots of fine tip glue to make it look like moisture drops, because the, I don't know, what are they called? What are those dots called, people, that came out in the Occasions catalog that look like raindrops? The adhesive ones, they sold out and were on back order, and I hadn't gotten any yet, so I thought outside the box and I used glue. Then I did this card, and this card I used the Stampin' Blends, and I want to say that's pumpkin pie. Stampin' Blends. I'll have to look. I don't know. I think it was pumpkin pie. Let's see. Let's see. Nope, I think that's Calypso Coral. That's Calypso Coral. And then, not on a card yet, I did this one and I colored this one. This one's the pumpkin pie. So that's what the Stampin' Blends look like with pumpkin pie. But I did do the two colors, the light and the dark pumpkin pie, to try to get some, I don't know, light and dark shading. So I was playing. And then on this one, I did the pink pirouette. And again, it's the light and dark pink pirouette blend and the old olive. So I'm practicing my shading, folks, so we can do some more in a future class. So that's another card. And then these two cards all came about because of this card that I created for a very special someone, and it's going to go out in the mail tomorrow. And on this one, I used the Daffodil Delight blends. So that's the light and the dark Daffodil Delight with the old olive and the same designer series paper. But on this one, I added this little die cut, which is in the set that goes with the Petal palette stamp set. So that's the Petals and More Thinlits dies. This little piece down here went back here. So I just kind of tucked that back there to give it a little extra something. So those are those cards, and I think that's about all I have to share with you today. But before I forget, I do have a Petal palette class to go, and that information is posted here on my Facebook page. It's also on my blog, and I have a printable PDF with all the information on it if you're interested in the class to go. There's 3 options. Option 1 is $45 plus priority mail, and that includes the Claremont stamp set and all the materials for the projects. Option 2 is a wood mount stamp set and all of the materials to make the projects. That's $60 plus the priority mailing charge of $10. And then the third option is option 3, and that is all the materials to make the projects for free when you place a $75 or more order and you use the exclusive hostess code for the class, so that I know that you want the class. And I will just automatically send the class out to you. And this is the class. It's a little box of cards where we actually make the box and the belly band on the front. And this is just a movable belly band. And then we have 4 cards. My bow is a little mashed from being in the box. But we make 4 of the new narrow note cards, and they're coordinating envelopes. And that features, again, the stitch shapes and the coordinating circles, oh my gosh, come on, Mary, think. The coordinating layering circles, framelits, dies. I can't even say that once, let alone 10 times. So you'll get all the materials for making the 4 cards and the box in the class to go. So that is just one more project idea featuring this class. Okay, so thank you for joining me. That is the end of our class, and now I'm going to attempt to do my live drawing. So let me see if I can do this. We're gonna come over to, I'm over on my computer, so just continue looking at my cards because I need to find it. It was open and it closed itself. Let's see. All right, bear with me for just a minute. I apologize. I had this up and now it's not up anymore. So this is embarrassing. Hold on a second. Because I have to find it. So bear with me. I'm sorry. Keep looking at the cards. I guess. Trying to find it. I can't believe this. Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go. I'm on my laptop and I'm going to bring up this live class and see if this is going to work. Let's see. Back arrow. Hey, this is my first time. Bear with me, folks. Okay, so live at 5 card class. We have 65 comments. So we're going to do a random draw from the 65 comments. And what are you going to win? Well, over the weekend, I created a one-sheet wonder. And you make 6, the one-sheet wonder makes 6 cards. They look like this. So there's 2 designs, and you can make 3 of each. And they highlight or feature the in colors, the current in colors, the current latest in colors, not the ones that are retiring, but the ones that are sticking around. And this designer series paper, which I want to call Fresh Florals. So the winner of this random draw is going to win all of the materials for making 4 of the card designs. So I will send the winner 4 card bases, 4 designer series papers that are pre-cut, 4 of the sentiment pieces, so 2 of these flags and 2 of these punched images here, and enough ribbon to do the 2 cards that contain the ribbon. And they will be either one of the colors from the designer series paper. So it may not necessarily be this green, but it'll be 4 of the same color with the coordinating cardstock. So the only thing that you will need to supply is the greeting, the stamped greeting for the front of your card, because I will be sending you everything else to create the cards. So I don't think that I want to pull you out of this holder and show you the computer. So just trust me that I'm clicking a button and it's going to randomly pick a winner. So here we go. Pick a winner. Users can enter by commenting on this post. Pick a winner. Amy Black. So my winner is Amy Black. So congratulations, Amy. You have won my very first Live at 5 drawing. And if you can just message me your address, I will get this out in the mail to you. And I'm so happy that everybody joined me today. And if you did not win, then next Tuesday, when I begin my next Live at 5 card class after this week's Hostess Code and everything has closed, I will do another drawing for another winner for another set of 4 of my One Sheet Wonder cards. Oh, and before I forget, the winner, including Amy and the next winner, will also receive the PDF template for my One Sheet Wonder and the directions for making the cards. So it's the PDF for creating the cards and the materials to make 4 of the actual cards. So congratulations, Amy. Just send me your address so I can get that in the mail to you. Everyone else, continue commenting because I'm going to keep this up for the rest of the week, and I'll do another drawing a week from today on Tuesday at my next Live in 5 class. So I think we've covered it all, and I hope you've enjoyed our cards that we created today and my additional samples. And I look forward to stamping with you again on Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my next Live at 5 class. And again, it'll be featuring the Petal Palette stamp set and bundle. So I look forward to stamping with you on Thursday. All right, everyone, have a good evening. Talk to you soon. Bye.